So our job as leaders, as the elect, is to break down the strongholds of, you know, doctrines of devils and to tell you what's correct teaching so you can endure sound doctrine, as Paul the Apostle had taught, that we're to endure sound doctrine. So that means tearing down the strongholds of this world. And currently this world is run by Esau, the so-called white man. And so one of the greatest strongholds is stretch Christianity. And of course, I had a comment on one of my videos, I believe it was on the End Revelation Times channel, because I happen to upload videos on both of them. And Confusion of Faith's Reading channel is more based upon just the parts with just me speaking and not so much the other videos that are compiled together. But anyhow, quote unquote, that, just stretching, my own doctrines, twisted the scriptures, and that I'm full of hatred, And if you clicked on this video in all hopes that I'm going to preach Jesus saves, and that he loves the whole world, all this crap that Esau has taught us, well, I'm going to tell you what John 3:16 really is dealing with. It's, first of all, his name's not Jesus. Jesus is really the worship of Zeus, because Jesus is a Greek name, so it's really Hail Zeus. Broken down Jesus, so it means Hail Zeus. So that's why we don't call upon that name, because that's not his Hebrew name. In fact, his Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai, and if you were to get the English of that, it would be Joshua. But that's not the name that's being taught, It's being taught Zeus. So they're teaching Zeus. So we know that the Edomites had taken over the Greek Empire and then pretty much molded everything into stretch Christianity. Sorry about my dog barking, but she sees another dog, she'll be going off for a few, so we'll just deal with that for a minute. Anyhow, stretch Christianity pretty much is a doctrine of devils, because these devils, which is referring to Edomites, have taken the scriptures and stretched it to put in their own doctrines. So if anyone's playing with the scriptures, it's the Edomites, twisting it to what they want it to believe, hiding the faces and judges thereof. In other words, taking down our images and putting up their images, making Yahweh Shai, changing his very name to a Greek name, to Zeus, and make him look like a so-called white man, which is who Cesare Borgia is. So we're tearing down all the strongholds and all that. So, and of course, this gospel is not for the entire world. You see, Esau, he looks at that literally. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So he must have loved the entire world. Well, come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. That's what he really believes, because he's reading it literally. But yet, who is his world to begin with? Who is the apple of his eye? That's Yasharahla, that's Israel, as Zechariah teaches us. But these devils, Edomites, don't want to even talk about the Old Testament. It's like, oh, well, that's just the Old Testament, so that's done away with. They'll tell you it's okay to eat swine, it's okay to do that, because the law's been done away with. In that God so loved the world, and so that, now, Jesus has opened it up for the entire world now to be saved. Jesus saves, and no, it's only for the elect of his people. That's the whosoever, his elect, because those are the ones that are going to receive him, which is to believe in him. So, getting to John 3:16, putting it into its proper context, his world is Israel. So, and it's really supposed to sound like this, and that's the way it's interpreted. But you have to, first of all, have the spirit of an Israelite to even understand these scriptures. And if you don't have the spirit of an Israelite, this is not for you. You're better off going and playing somebody else's video. There's plenty of stretch Christianity videos out there, so, why even bother watching these videos? Because if you're going to try to use the Bible to come against this, the Bible's going to back us, and it's going to destroy you. Because all stretch Christianity is a doctrine of devils. They stretch the scriptures, try to fit in their own doctrines, and it's not going to work anymore. We're taking that stronghold and we're breaking it down correctly. So it should read, John 3:16 should really read, for Yahweh so loved his people that he gave his only begotten Son, that his elect, that is the whosoever, who's going to believe in him, who's going to follow him, shall not perish, but have everlasting life. In other words, they're not going to die in the second death that's coming very quickly. You know, because he says over and over again, behold, I come quickly, in the twinkling of an eye, you know, which it's going to be among them chariots, you know, when he's destroying this place. For at the time of our salvation, because this salvation is only for his elect, that's the whosoever, he's going to be destroying these Edomites and the 2/3 of our people that are wicked, you know, which are blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and then you've got confusion of faces. They need to wake the fuck up too, you know. Wake the fuck up. Heed the words of the Most High. Heed these warnings, you know. And of course, like everything else, though, there's another big one, you know, that, you know, if you're in this thing, you're to do 3 videos a week, 10 minutes or more. Okay, is that really asking a lot? Well, as another brother had put it in to its context, well, how many minutes go by in a week? A little over 10,000, right? So, you know, when you're dealing with tithing, if you're to give 10%, well, what's 10% of 10,000? That's 1,000, right? Well, you know how much time 1,000 minutes is? That'd be 16 hours and 40 minutes. If we were asked to tithe that kind of time, to give it that much effort, too many would bug out, man. They're already bugging out over 30 minutes, you know, a week. Which 30 minutes a week ain't shit, you know. And, of course, like everything else, what I do is I have 2 channels. In Revelation Times is dedicated more to finding others like me and also look at the news events and breaking it down with the scriptures, putting it all together into like 2-hour videos, you know. Sometimes can go up to 3 hours, you know, because there's a lot of input there, you know, and it's all co-related, you know, because we're all singing the same song, so we're different parts of that song, you know. So that's what In Revelation Times is dedicated to, and of course you got my part that's in that, you know, not on all of the videos on that channel, because there's just so many videos out there coming out every week, because that's what we're to do. We're supposed to thrust this forward, because we haven't a lot of time left, you know. When this happens, in the twinkling of an eye, when this happens, it's the be-all and the end-all. The end-all is 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. That's the end-all. And, of course, Esau is going to be destroyed, too. You know, he's going to be burnt up, you know, in this thermonuclear war that he's about to start. And we can see that, you know, especially just dealing with Syria alone, that Esau don't want to leave Syria. He wants to stay in Syria, even though Russia and Syria are saying that there's no reason for United States presence in there. You know, and the United States is Babylon the Great. The United States is pretty much the terrorist of the world, even though they claim that they're fighting terrorists, you know, Homeland Security, all this other horse shit that they push out there, when they're the ones that created the terror, the cabal, you know, which are the Amalekites, which are in occupied Jerusalem now. These Amalekites that are starting this war for no reason, so they're using the Zionist entity to attack Syria, you know, and that's probably how they're going to conquer Damascus, because, of course, like everything else, though, nobody does anything about these Amalekites, because we know who's running everything. We know who's running shit. We know who the Rothschilds and Rockefellers are, which go back to the bloodline of the Borgias. And the Borgias is that image of Jesus Christ that the whole world worships. They're not worshiping the Son of the Most High. They're worshiping an image that was given unto them, plantation Christianity. So the whole world is enslaved by this false image of Cesare Borgia. Even though, the rest of the world knows that those Amalekites that are in the Zionist state right now are not the real Israelites. They said, well, they were black when they left. They came back white, is what the former leader of Egypt had said. Because even the Egyptians were dark-skinned, but they were chased out and conquered by the Arabs, which the Arabs used to be dark-skinned too. But like everything else, the paleness came because, of course, when you get scattered abroad among all nations and you start mating with others, man, you start losing your colors, because paleness is the ultimate punishment, which is why you have confusion-of-face Israelites out there, but you also have confusion-of-face Ishmaelites out there who don't look like Ham anymore, Well, you've got, okay, back that up a little bit because, all right, the Ishmaelites were dark-skinned too, not as dark as Ham, but they were still dark-skinned nonetheless, though. But, of course, the Edomites have gotten there. I mean, just look at the Kurds. Mostly British, right? So you got the Kurds over there, and, that's the other thing, is that they want to use a Kurdish state for U.S. occupation in Syria and Iraq. And these other countries want America out of there. They're sick of this whore, Babylon the Great. So, we break down scriptures correctly, because that's what we're to do. Edifying each other means give them the correct sound doctrine and break down the strongholds, which the main one has been stretched Christianity. And that's what we're to do, break it down, And definitely we're all capable of doing at least 30 minutes a week, But this is not for Esau, the so-called white man. This is, the good news is that salvation has come for the elect of Israel. That's the whosoever is going to find life. It's going to know both names of the Father and the Son, Yahweh and Yahushai. So that's why we always say it, and we give honor and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, but we also give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth out there. Add to the Akim that's out there pushing this truth. People like myself that are Akim, who may not live near a camp, who may not be a member of Great Millstone yet, but would love to have fellowship with others that are, a part of it, and I try to give my number out, I try to say, hey, let's have fellowship, because it's the other part of what Apostle Tahar said is the standard, and I'll let everyone else know a little secret here, that, as it was prophesied, we don't know who we were in our former life, but a lot of times, man, there are cookies out there that you can tell as to who's who, especially when you look at the aspects of a prophet or of a teacher, well, who has these attributes? Who's out there now? And I will say this about Apostle Tahar, that is in my belief, though, that he, and this is just based upon what I see in Apostle Tahar, that most likely Apostle Tahar was Peter in his former life, and the reason why I say that is because, well, he's really been the key to this whole thing, the key to this kingdom, and that this kingdom really, Apostle Tahar is the one leading, and we're all following in that. Now, of course, Apostle Tahar was taught by others as well, and so we don't take away from that, but, again, he's definitely got the spirit of Peter, for sure. And it has been directed, this whole thing, has been directed this church, and the church is the governing body of the people, and the job of the 144,000, the 12 tribes, the 12,000 men out of each tribe really is to push this word out there so that way the 1/3 can be reached. To reach the entire hopeful elect is what the main job is of the elders and apostles. And, of course, of the disciples that come through them. As we're all trying to come in this thing. So, again, I stretch that invite out if you're watching these videos and, I would love to have fellowship with you, and start fellowshipping. My number is 530-768-1639. I'm available most of the time, and would just love to have a sit down and chat. I don't. My computer's still Windows 7, and I just use an iPhone or whatever. But as far as the technology part, but the telephone definitely works, and my email, and if you don't want to do the phone number, but the phone number is the best way, and then we can just set something up. I love the fellowship. I live in Redding, California, so I'm quite a few miles away from the nearest camp, which is San Francisco, but I wouldn't mind even fellowshipping with them. I've been trying to break through, and say, hey, I'm up here in Redding, and I would like to have a fellowship, but of course the money, and I don't expect somebody to pay my own gas to go down there, but all my money goes into this place here, obviously, the rent and the bills, so I don't have extra money, at all, everything goes into that, because you know how Babylon the Great is, you work your ass off, and, you're lucky you have, fucking 3 meals, to eat, and that's all there is, it's just all your hard work just goes into your place, and we know that Esau owns all this shit, but, anyhow, so I don't expect them to try to pay my way, and I don't expect them to come up this way, so the best way is through the telephone, so 530-768-1639 if you're a part of this and you just want to have fellowship, again, that's what we're to do, because that's the other part of the standard now. 3 videos a week, 10 minutes or more, or, have fellowship with one another, and of course go to camp. If you're near a camp. If not, obviously, you can see that I don't live near a camp, so obviously I've become that camp, pretty much, It's just me out there for now until others come along, or I find out that there's others like me here. So far I haven't found that yet, because if it had been, I'd be letting them take the lead, obviously, sometimes too, and we'd share off or whatever, And like everything else, though, I hope this has been edifying. The fact is, though, is that who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, real name Yahweh Shai, he died for his people, which are the blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. And you have confusion of faces among them. That's the people that he died for. So that way, we can get out of this slavery, and we can put them into slavery, these other heathens. So, hope this has been edifying. Shalom.